गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणस्पत आनः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामभित्रयवतो गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। 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 ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीं महिषाः। गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। 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 ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः।
From age to age, God incarnates in human form for the protection of the virtuous, for the destruction of evil, and for the establishment of righteousness. Bhagavan Shri Satya Sai Baba, God in human form, has incarnated to correct mankind, raise human consciousness, and put people back on the right path of truth, righteousness, peace, and love to divinity. Baba says, I have come not to disturb or destroy any faith, but to confirm each in his own faith, so that a Hindu becomes a better Hindu. A Buddhist becomes a better Buddhist. A Zoroastrian becomes a better Zoroastrian.
Ashem vahu vaishtemasti, ushta asti ushta ammai, yat ashai vaishtai Ashem.
A Judaist becomes a better Judaist.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
A Muslim becomes a better Muslim.
الله أكبر بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
A Christian becomes a better Christian.
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
ప్రేమ స్వరూపులారా, హ్యాపీ 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 బీ హ్యాపీ, హ్యాపీ హ్యాపీ మేక్ అదర్స్ హ్యాపీ, ఆల్ విల్ బి హ్యాపీ, గాడ్ విల్ బి హ్యాపీ.
ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्. ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्. ईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वः प्रचोदयात्.
वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि ज्योति समप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देवा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा महागणपतिं श्रीमहागणपतिं श्रीमहागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि महागणपतिं 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 महादेवसुतं 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 गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं महादेवसुतं मारकोटि प्रकाशं शातं महादेवसुतं गुरुगुहनुतं मारकोटि प्रकाशं शातं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूलिगवाहनमोदकप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूलिगवाहनमोदकप्रियं महाकाव्यनाटकादिप्रियं मूलिगवाहनमोदकप्रियं पप्पमगमरितरि सपमगमप गरि गरि गमपरि सरि सनि मम सनि ममगमनि ममनि गमनिरि नीददानि ममगमरितरि गपप्पमगमनि सनि सनि सममगमप पनि सरि गमपरि सरि सनि मम सनि ममगमनि ममगमनिरि नीददानि ममगमरितरि गपप्पमगमनि ममगमनि सनि पारि सनि पा सनि 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 ममगमनि ममरि सनि गमपनि सनि सा सनि ममगमनि पा मरि सनि सगरि सा गमपनि पा पनि सनि सा पमरि सनि सरि सा सनि ममगमनि पा पमरि सनि सगरि सा गमपनि पा पनि सनि सा पमरि सनि सगरि सा सनि ममगमनि पम पमरि सनि सगम महागणपतिं मनसा स्मरामि
आपकी नजरों ने समझा प्यार के काबिल मुझे, दिल की धड़कन ठहर जा, मिल गई मंजिल मुझे, आपकी नजरों ने समझा। जी हमें मंजूर है आपका ये फैसला, जी हमें मंजूर है आपका ये फैसला। कह रही है हर नजर बंदा परवर शुक्रिया, हंस के अपने जिंदगी में कर लिया शामिल मुझे, दिल की ये धड़कन ठहर जा, मिल गई मंजिल मुझे, आपकी नजरों ने समझा। आपकी मंजिल हो मैं, मेरी मंजिल आप है, आपकी मंजिल हो मैं, मेरी मंजिल आप है। क्यों मैं तूफान से डरूं, मेरा साहिल आप है, कोई तूफानों से कह दे मिल गया शामिल मुझे, दिल की ये धड़कन ठहर जा, मिल गई मंजिल मुझे, आपकी नजरों ने समझा। पड़ गई दिल पर मेरे आपकी परछाइयाँ, पड़ गई दिल पर मेरे आपकी परछाइयाँ, हर तरफ बजने लगी सैकड़ों शहनाइयाँ, तो जहाँ की आज खुशियाँ हो गई हासिल मुझे, आपकी नजरों ने समझा, प्यार के काबिल मुझे, दिल की धड़कन ठहर जा, मिल गई मंजिल मुझे, आपकी नजरों ने समझा।
Giraffe, go.
मन मंदिरा मन मंदिरा ते जाने, मन मंदिरा ते जाने, उजलो न घे साधका, मन मंदिरा ते जाने, उजलो न घे साधका, संवेदना संवेदना तेजाने उजलून घेई साधका मनमंदिरा. तळहाताच्या रेषानी सहज सुखाचा भोगी कुणी. तळहाताच्या रेषानी तलह सुखाचा भोगी कुणी. स्वयं प्रकाशी तू तारा स्वयं प्रकाशी तू तारा. चैतन्याचा गाभारा भर पंखातून स्वप्न उद्याचे. भर पंखातून स्वप्न उद्याचे. झेप गेरे बापुरा. उजळून गे साधका मनमंदिरा. तेजाने उजळून गे साधका मनमंदिरा. मनमंदिरा मनमंदिरा. नीली निदा गग नीली निदा गग नीली दा ग नीली दा ग नि द ब म म प म म प म म प म म प म प नि द ब म ग रि म ग रि द द नि नि द द रि नि द द नि नि द द नि नि द म म प म प नि द ब म म प म नि द ब. प नि स रि 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 प नि स म ग रि रि ग रि ग रि द द नि द ब रि ग रि ग रि द.
यज्ञैर्विश्वा स्वर्गतिं प्रार्थयन्ते ते पुण्यमासाद्य सुरेन्द्रलोकम् अश्नन्ति दिव्यान् दिवि देवभोगा जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा 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 सुन पावे। सुन पावेगी शासन नदिया, सुन पावेगी शासन नदिया। जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा, जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा। हम तो सदा रंग तुमको चाहत है, हम तो सदा रंग तुमको चाहत है। क्या तुम हमसे छलन किया, क्या तुम हमसे छलन किया। जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा, जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा। जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा, जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा, जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा, जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा। ओ दानी दादा रे दानी दीम दीम ताना, ओ दानी दादा रे दानी दीम दीम ताना। सुन पावे, सुन पावेगी शासन नदिया, सुन पावेगी शासन नदिया, सुन पावे। भीम तदन धरि दीम दीम तनन, भीम तदन धरि दीम दीम तनन, दीम तनन धरि दीम तनन, दीम दीम तनन दीम, दीम तदन धरि दीम दीम तनन, दीम तदन धरि दीम दीम तनन, दीम तदन धरि दीम तदन धरि दीम तदन धरि दीम। जा जा रे अपने मंदिर वाजा। Om Shri Sai Ram. We're just having some technical difficulties. Please wait just one moment. Loving Sai Rams, everyone. Sorry for the short technical delay. We are back, and thank you so much to all the viewers of BhajanBliss for joining today's very special session. We do have a wonderful program in store for all of you on this auspicious day. So why is today auspicious? But before I do that, let me welcome my co-host, Brother Sai Santosh Sreenivasan. Brother Sai Santosh is currently a medical student at LECOM in Greensburg, Pennsylvania. He is going to start his second year in the fall. And he's a wonderful tabla player, percussionist, sings bhajans with so much devotion for Swami. And playing double tabla with Brother Sai Santosh is one of my life's greatest privileges. So thank you so much, brother, for always wanting to do that double boom boom with me all the time. And so why don't you say hello to our listeners as well?
My most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved, ever-present Bhagwan, our Guru, our God, our Master, our loving Mother and Father. Swami, please be with us as we embark upon this small offering at your divine lotus feet of a few thoughts that have also been on our minds, and a little bit of joy that we want to offer back to you for all the joy you have given us every single day. Jai Sai Ram. Sai Ram, Brother Rishi. It is indeed really, really wonderful to be back to another Dharmic Discussions. A Sai Ram and a loving hello to all our listeners today and henceforth. So, just as Brother Rishi, thank you so much for the very flattering introduction. To all our listeners who don't know Rishi, he's someone that is known world over, and I don't mean that lightly. His journey in bhajans has taken him across the world. It has allowed all of us to embark on that journey and feel that bliss every time he sings, Brother Rishi came to, his brother Rishi was born in a family that has been at the Divine Lotus feet for multiple generations, and he is such a loving YA who leaves no stone unturned in the realm of bhajans, and always takes the time to sing for Bhagwan and to encourage others to sing for Bhagwan and to always be there for those who want to sing for Bhagwan and to participate himself in bhajan, which is his life's purpose. And I'm quoting him here. So, loving sarams to you, Brother Rishi. It's really, really nice to be back to another Dharmic Discussions after what has been what seems like a really long time. So, thank you so much, and pleasure to be here.
Yes, thank you so much for that loving introduction, brother. Very humbling. Thank you for that. So yes, it's definitely been a very long time. To give a brief synopsis of what Dharmic Discussions is, I think back in 2013, we had started like a series on BhajanBliss called Friday Night Inspirations, as part of which we did this Dharmic Discussions, which would be a panel discussion between myself, you, and Brother Siddharth, who couldn't be with us today. But yeah, so we used to do this quite regularly and then kind of died down. And I don't think we've done one of these since, like, I think Swami's 93rd birthday, if I'm correct.
Yeah, something like that. It has really been a long time. And when you came up with this idea, I was so eager to participate because it's really been a long time. And like you said, we used to always have the Friday night discussions. And, life moved on, and I came to, finished college, started medical school, and Brother Siddharth continued on his journey with his MD, PhD, and so forth. And you continued to rise up the ladders, now working at Syneos Health. So big congrats to you on that. But also, I've just really missed this, to be really honest with you. This is a wonderful platform that we have to speak about Swami's message and to ruminate its relevance and practice in our lives. So
Definitely. It's such a wonderful platform. And as our viewers can already see, this is very informal. This is, Santosh, Siddharth, and myself, we've been best friends, for 2 decades, and Santosh more recently. But it feels like I've known him for 2 decades as well. And so this is basically
same here.
all it really is just a friendly discussion on spiritual topics. We'll take up one random topic and just talk about it for an hour until we get bored and sing some bhajans. So that's pretty much how this program goes. It's very informal. And in fact, since we last ran this bit on BhajanBliss, the YouTube itself has upgraded so many technological things. For the first time, we're glad to say that this is going to be a very interactive discussion, not just between me and Santosh, but all the viewers as well. You have the YouTube live chat available to you. So at any time, if you have any comments or questions that you'd like us to address as we're moving along with the discussion, really invite all of you to join in that as well. And we will try our best to address all those comments and questions as they come.
I agree. YouTube has really gone leaps and bounds forward since we last had one of these.
Of course. And because we haven't done this in so long, that's why we had a little bit of a technical glitch as the musical offering ended and we started the discussion. Just had a little bit of a technical issue, but with Swami's grace, we are online, and let's get it started. So, if you don't mind, Brother Santosh, I'll get the ball rolling here. So
sounds good.
Just as I had introduced today's program, I was saying, today's a very auspicious day. What is so auspicious about today? See, we had Guru Purnima celebrations, right? When was Guru Purnima, Santosh?
I don't even know. At this point, it seems like ages ago. I think it was July 5th.
July 5th, so, right? Already,
yeah.
It's been 1 week. So July 11th, what is so special? See, July 11th, in American parlance, that would be 7-Eleven. Is today a day to celebrate, like, the convenience store 7-Eleven, brother?
Despite my thoughts on the greatness of 7-Eleven, the store, I think not.
I think, definitely I could use a Slurpee right now, but, Slurpee is very cold. In Sairam, I am a Bhajan singer. We cannot have all these cold foods also, no?
Sairam, I am also Bhajan singer. Turn on the AC, Rushi, if you need.
Hey, the AC is on. That's why we're in Sai Kulwant Hall, but now this is really Sai Kulwant Hall because of the AC going on.
Sairam, Sairam, Sairam.
So, but really, what is so special about today? So, July 11th.
Why don't you tell us yourself, Brother Rushi?
Sure, definitely. July 11th, 2010 was the day that hundreds of devotees from the United States of America had gathered in the big real Sai Kulwant Hall. And on this day, the SSC children had the opportunity to perform a play in the divine physical presence of Bhagwan. And personally, on this day, this very day, exactly 1 decade, that is 10 years ago, I had the wonderful opportunity of having my closest physical encounter with Bhagavan Shri Satya Sai Baba, God in human form, the creator of all that exists, the absolute supreme personality of Godhead, on this very day 10 years ago. It was a play about the medicine wheel, which is a Native American philosophy related to... it's basically, if those of you are familiar with chakras and yantrams, so we do in Hinduism, we have this concept called yantra puja. So either with flowers or rice grains or even with diyas, lamps, some concentric, some designs will be made on the ground or on a platform, and that will be worshipped. It's believed that that design brings a lot of vibrations from all the different directions for healing and peace and prosperity. So this medicine wheel is basically the Native American indigenous version of a yantram, essentially. So the play was done centered around this concept, inviting good vibrations from all the different directions, the north, south, east, and west, through various spirit guides which manifest as different animals, such as the bear and the eagle, and various other animals that are indigenous, native to the United States of America. And so this whole beautiful offering was done for Swami, and the play had a live orchestra. Live music accompanied the play. I had the opportunity to be a percussionist in that offering. Played the bongos and a lot of different neat Native American instruments. So it's such a wonderful, wonderful time. And after the musical offering, the play and the musical offering was done, Bhagwan, out of his graciousness, though his health was quite frail by then, came down from the portico and blessed us with a group photograph. And Bhagwan graciously gave so many of the children Padanamaskar and various small interactions. And as Bhagwan came close to me, I was just totally out of it. I was just so lost in that bliss. I didn't even remember to ask for Padanamaskar, and then I had just asked, I wanted to ask for Padanamaskar, but it just didn't occur to me in that moment. Laddus had been distributed to all the participants of the play, and one of the students, Swami's students from his school, who was distributing these laddus, Swami just called one of them, instructed him to give me one extra laddu. So whatever physical interaction that I've had with Swami rests in the hands of one single laddu. That's it.
You mean 2 laddus?
2 laddus, okay, yeah. It rests in the sweetness of just 2 laddus. But that sweetness of those 2 laddus, I'm sure, will last me a lifetime. And very grateful to Swami for that literally very sweet experience on this day. I'm sure so many other viewers who may be watching this may have sweet memories of that day. For example, speaking of double tabla, we have Brother Navyug Bhupati, who's a Group 4 SSC student. Very wonderful tabla player, very talented musician, and I have the wonderful opportunity to play double tabla with him on various occasions. And he actually was blessed with a small conversation with Swami on that day. So, Brother Navyug, if you're hearing this conversation, just a big shout out and a big dose of love to you, brother. So this day is just filled with so much emotion, so many memories. It only feels appropriate that we resurrected Dharmic Discussions on this day, being headquartered in what has now become America's outpost of Sai Kulwant Hall. Speaking of which, I've been, many of you may know lions are my favorite animal. A lot of you included, call me Simba. We have in Sai Kulwant Hall, there's 2 lion statues on either side of Bhagwan's Divya Sannidhi. And Swami has said so many times about lions. In one of the discourses to students, Swami had said, be leaders like lions, courageous, self-reliant, and roam freely in the jungle of spirituality, and roam over all mankind. So in that spirit, and having lions are also there in Prashanti, I ordered a couple lion statues and I painted them just last night. And so fitting that 10 years after my closest physical encounter with Swami in Sai Kulwant Hall, that we've actually installed lion statues here. You'll see them. You might have seen them already in the earlier during the musical offering. So we have one here and one on the ladies' side.
What an apt day for such a reveal, Brother Rishi.
Definitely.
And
one more thing, actually. Speaking of Kulwant Hall, so you see the ceiling and all of this structure which has been done here with Swami's grace. This ceiling was done in 2012, and the pillars that you see around and the lighting was done in 2012, which was 2 years after that play. And specifically, that was very much done on purpose. The inauguration or the dedication of this room as Sai Kulwant Hall was done on July 11th, 2012, to coincide, which was then the 2nd anniversary of that play. So this day is not only the 10th anniversary of that play in Sai Kulwant Hall, but it's also the 8th anniversary of the inauguration of this mini Sai Kulwant Hall. And we actually celebrated the 25th anniversary of the actual Sai Kulwant Hall just 2 days ago. Swami inaugurated Sai Kulwant Hall on July 9th, 1995. So given that everything is about Sai Kulwant Hall today, and we want to transport ourselves to that wonderful place, the topic of discussion that we've chosen for today is Sai Kulwant Hall in your own heart. So, Brother Sai Santosh, why don't you take it away and let's begin to delve into this topic on this auspicious day.
Definitely, Brother Rishi. Thank you for sharing. It's always a pleasure to listen to the reliving of such beautiful moments in the physical proximity of our dearest Lord. And I remember so fondly all of the experiences you have told me that happened during that trip to perform in front of Bhagwan in 2010. And for our listeners, this is just something that I literally remembered a couple of minutes ago while Brother Rishi was talking. So during this same time, when Brother Rishi was performing in front of Bhagwan, I was in Kuwait in the Middle East, and we, as a Region 94, being the Middle East, were in the final stages of planning for a Parti Yatra that we ended up embarking upon. And almost exactly a month after this experience, somewhere around August 10th, 2010, we, the Region 94 SSE children, had the opportunity to perform in front of Bhagwan a music program titled Prema Tarangini, The Waves of Love. And I had a very small part to play in that. I was part of the music group, and I will never forget, I was given a very special spot in the first row. And as someone who was 10, 11 years old, sitting unobstructed in front of the Lord of the Universe is really an experience. And it's really something that you never forget. And so for me, that was a very transformative experience, that sitting in Sai Kulwant Hall, right? and having Swami barely 10 feet away from you, looking at you intently while you're singing and narrating a small piece is really, really fond memories and really unforgettable. So I just wanted to bring that up, Brother Rishi, because I think we've spoken about this, and it's really a very pleasant coincidence or incidence, I should say. So delving into the topic that we have for today, how do we find and how do we reconstruct Sai Kulwant Hall within us? So I think it's important to start out by discussing a little bit of what Sai Kulwant Hall means, because to us and for most people who have seen Sai Kulwant Hall or been there or had Bhagwan's darshan in the premises of Sai Kulwant Hall, Sai Kulwant Hall represents much more than just a structure. It's much more than just a constructed building. It has to do a lot more with being a symbol. It's a symbol of Bhagwan's love. It's a symbol of Bhagwan's compassion for his devotees, because he didn't want them to sit in the blazing sun of Rayalaseema in Andhra Pradesh, and wanted the devotees to be comfortable while he gave darshan. And to me, that is something that brings tears to my eyes, honestly, because we go to Pati to see the Lord, and we are ready to go through any sort of difficulty that it requires, right? We take very long plane journeys, sometimes train journeys. So many devotees come by bus to see Swami, and we are ready to go through any sort of hardship, because for us, the satisfaction of seeing Bhagwan in Sai Kulwant Hall is enough for a lifetime. And so I think Sai Kulwant Hall is just a reminder for us of Bhagwan's love for his devotees. As such, when we start thinking about Sai Kulwant Hall within us, it has to do a lot more with finding love for Swami within. And there are so many ways we do that, right? We do that through music, we do that through dialogue, we do that through group activities, we do that through seva. But finding love in Swami's heart, that love is what we think of when we think of Sai Kulwant Hall, because that's what it is. It's a symbol of devotees' love for Bhagwan and Bhagwan's love for his devotees.
Very beautiful.
Any thoughts you'd like to share, Brother Rishi?
Very beautifully put, brother. Yeah, I mean, Sai Kulwant Hall is where the divine romance between Bhagwan and his bhaktas truly unfolded, and continues to do so until today, right? Now, even when we go and touch our heads on Bhagwan's Divya Sannidhi, it brings us back to those same moments that we had with him in his physical presence. Even to this day, we are able to feel those vibrations there, and that same thrill takes over us whenever we have the opportunity to sing or perform, even in Sai Kulwant Hall, to this day. And the thing is, though, that place is in Parthi, or somehow we have constructed some kind of replica here in New Jersey. How do we really encapsulate that and bring that with us in our hearts wherever we go? Let's try to shed some light on that in some practical ways that we can be in Sai Kulwant Hall wherever we are, just by thinking of Swami. So you beautifully put it that Sai Kulwant Hall is a symbol of love, right? To constantly be in that love of Bhagwan. Swami says, God is love, live in love. So to live in love is truly what it means, to live in Sai Kulwant Hall. And so when we go about our daily actions, every day, we wake up, go to school, go to work, we eat. One of the things that I try to do, and I'm really not successful at it, and feel free to chime in at any point.
Sure.
One of the things I try to do is imagine Swami with me. So, for example, when I drive in my car, if I'm driving alone, I actually do keep a nice cushion on the passenger seat with white, neatly ironed handkerchiefs, with the feeling that Swami is sitting there and I'm driving him wherever I'm going. And it's just a small thing that I like to do if I'm driving alone. So driving keeps Swami with you. Eating also, we keep Swami with us. Before we eat any meal, if we just think, chanting Brahmarpadam is there, but if we can visualize that, Swami is here sitting with me, sharing my meal with me, then that's such a beautiful feeling. Going to sleep, you imagine that you're right before you go to sleep. If you just close your eyes and you imagine you're pressing Swami's feet and putting him to sleep before you go to sleep, develop, cultivate these beautiful visualizations. Actually, Swami says, I don't remember the discourse. So we say, but this is all imagination at the end of the day, right? Is it really sinking deep within our hearts? It all seems so superficial, right? We talk about like Atma and Swami being everywhere, and we should feel his presence in our hearts. But what I'm mentioning, this is technique. This is just imagination at the end of the day. It's like you go back to second grade and you have an imaginary friend, right? I mean, I remember when I was in second grade, like Pokemon was in vogue. So
Yes, Pokemon.
every one of my classmates had like an imaginary Pokemon friend. Oh, somebody had Pikachu, somebody had Squirtle, and they would literally imagine like that little like Pokemon thing is like sitting next to them. What about you? You have any similar experiences like this?
I was a Charizard kind of type of guy. So when I was in my Pokemon phase, as it were. But to get back to your point, Brother Rishi, I think we'd like, yeah. I mean, sometimes we think it's imagination, but I really strongly believe that when we take Swami wherever we go, we reconstruct our reality, and our reality becomes suffused with Swami wherever we go.
That's definitely true. Actually, one more thing that I wanted to bring up. So this thing about pretending, right? We say this is pretending, like, oh, as a Swami is an imaginary friend. But Swami has said something very beautiful. I don't remember the discourse or the reference, but he says, about pretending, if you pretend to do something, if you pretend to be something, you will tend to be that. Finally, you will end up being that. So it all starts with that imagination.
It's so powerful. It's so powerful. Swami has such fun ways of playing on words, but we really don't realize at the spur of the moment exactly how profound they are. And that's exactly right, Rishi. That's exactly right. When we start incorporating Swami as a very active part of our lives, we truly make it a habit to call on him, to think of him, to take him wherever we go, to consult him, to give him our problems, to seek solutions at his lotus feet. Once we start doing that, I think what we do is we essentially reconstruct our reality such that he's there. And he's assured us as his devotees that he will always be there for us. He will always be there with us, and he will always be within us. So when it comes to carrying Swami wherever we go, I also try to do exactly what you just described, right? Whenever I'm driving alone in the car, sometimes people next to me think something is wrong with me when they hear me mumble, Swami, let's go, right? This is just something I do out of pure habit, no matter where we go. I guess I've learned to do it mentally now, but jokes aside, I do really try to actively take Swami wherever I go. And I know this is true even when it comes to studies and going to medical school. Even if I'm going to a lecture, I'm going to a lab, I'm going to meet a professor, I tell Swami, Swami, come with me. Swami, be with me. And that's really constantly a prayer that I offer to Swami every morning when I wake up is Swami, be with me. Swami, be with me today. Um, don't leave my side. And, in the night before I go to sleep, Swami, thank you for everything you've done for me today. Right? And I think, even something as small as thank you, Swami, is so, so, so powerful when it's done every day, continuously and made a habit, because it teaches us to reach out to Swami. It teaches us to remember him. And as he said so many times, the key really in this Kali age, to reaching his lotus feet is namasmarna. So this is, just another small way that we are able to reconstruct Sai Kulwant Hall in our hearts, because wherever the Lord's glory is sung, he installs himself. And what else is Sai Kulwant Hall but truly the place where Bhagwan installed himself? And so whenever we're able to carry his name on our tongues and keep him with us wherever we go, we carry Sai Kulwant Hall within us because Bhagwan is with us.
Very beautifully put, brother. Definitely, Sai Kulwant Hall will, wherever we think of Swami, right? And you mentioned two wonderful things you mentioned. First, you talked about Namasmarana. So, as it's said in I think in the Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Madbhakta yantra gayanti tatra tishtami narada. Wherever we sing his name, where we sing his glory, he's not going to he's going to come there. But Swami tweaks that slightly and says, Madbhakta yatra gayanti tatra sthapayami. He's not only going to come where we sing his glory, he's going to install himself there permanently in every place where his glory is sung, which is just, this is a whole different tangent, but it just goes to show the importance of singing bhajans and nagar sankirtan and doing all these different things wherever we can as much as possible, singing his glory and sharing that. Another thing you had mentioned about gratitude, saying thank you, Swami, and how powerful it is to say thank you to Swami. Of course, trying to say thank you to your own parent. I mean, if you start saying thank you to your parents who have given you birth, brought you into this world, it's you won't stop saying thank you, right? So which is why, like, in my family, and I think this is the case with yours as well, our parents actually discourage us from saying thank you, right?
Yeah, totally.
Because by using those words, thank you, we're kind of, degrading the actual gratitude that we I don't know how to put this into words, but see, that gratitude needs to be shown from a very much more deeper place, like from the heart in your actions. And when we just say thank you in words, it kind of just undermines the value of everything that our parents have given us. So perhaps
Definitely. It's not enough just to say thank you, and it has to be shown, which is why, I mean, thank you, Swami, is powerful, but it's just a starting point. It's just a starting point. We need to be able to scale that up to expressing our gratitude to Swami. How do we express our gratitude to Swami? We follow his message.
Very true. And this gratitude for Swami, if we remember that as much as possible, it would be very beneficial thing for us, I think, especially in times of whenever we have any distress or anything, right? Any negative situation that we are in. If we think about how much Swami has given us and how much that we have to be grateful to him, it would really turn any like ill situation into something much more positive. Just today, we were listening, we had a global young adult leaders call, and our SSIO chairman, Dr. Narendranath Reddy, spoke for a bit in the beginning, and he had said, we have 8.7 billion people that, live on planet Earth, right? And out of those, we probably have, a couple dozen million who are members of the SSI, who are, aware of Swami. Of those, maybe just a handful of million who are active members in the SSIO. If you do the math, that's like 0.001% of the world's population. So this is not by any chance that we were born into families that were already, in Swami's fold. Or for those who came into Swami's fold at a bit later stage in life, it's no chance that we all came to Swami. We've literally been handpicked by him to be in this, in his mission. First of all, if you look at it from a Atmic perspective, the Viveka Chudamani by Adi Shankara is described 3 important gifts that we should always be grateful for. First is Manushyatvam. That is having a human body. There's 8.4 million different species as listed in the Vedic scriptures. 8.4 million species. Out of that, you first become a human being, right? From whatever karmas that we may have done in our past lives. We've been born in a human body. That's the first most important thing. The second gift described in the Viveka Chudamani that we have to be grateful for. So first is Manushyatvam. Then is Mumukshatvam. See, we see so much violence and everything is going around in the world, right? People don't have a sense of purpose, right? That's what this Mumukshatvam is. It's like a quest for divinity, quest to know what is real, right?
The thirst for divinity. Yeah.
Thirst for divinity, right? Mumukshatvam means the quest to become, could also be interpreted as the desire to be close with God. So we've been given that. We've been given mumukshatvam, right? Otherwise, we would not be having this discussion right now. The viewers watching this would not be spending their Saturday evening watching a discussion by 2 young adults on BhajanBliss. They would rather be watching TV or doing something else, right? So we have this mumukshatvam, such a precious gift from Swami that's been given to us. And thirdly, see, people may have the desire to have spiritual realization and to be in that Godward path, in that spiritual path. But not many have access. Not many don't have easy access to spiritual avenues. Just think in countries like North Korea, right, where religion is something that's so shunned, right? If you're living in a place like that, and if you inside really have the quest to search for God, where will you go in a country like that, right? In countries that we have religious freedom, as much as America's socio-political situation right now is a crapshoot, for lack of a better term, we still have our religious freedoms, right? With Swami's grace, we have been given these opportunities, and countries, so many places all over the world, have this, right? Just saying that just because we're sitting in the United States right now, right? We have so much to be grateful for. So that so we may have mumukshatvam, but we have to be given that samayam and sandarbham, that time and circumstance, to be able to exercise that mumukshatvam. But the final touch, the third gift that's described in the Viveka Chudamani, is Mahapurusha Samshrayaha, the association with the divine personality. And that obviously we have gotten through the gift of Bhagwan being in our lives. We have been given this ultimate gift of being face to face with God himself, the creator of all that exists, absolute supreme divine personality of Godhead in our midst. We have seen him, we feel him, and we are carrying out his work, right? What other avatar has come that started an organization by his own name? Krishna came and went 5,000 years ago, but the organizations like International Society for Krishna Consciousness only came up in the last 100 years. So this is the only avatar of God. Even the Shirdi Sai Sansthan and all, they all came up after Shirdi Sai taken Mahasamadhi in 1918 from what I believe, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only
No,
time.
you got it.
The only time in the history of mankind where with the avatar being in physical form, that so many people were attracted to him, and he started his own sanstha, his own organization. So just we recall all of these things. We have so much to be grateful for. Any thoughts, brother?
No, definitely. You bring up a great point. We have to be so grateful to Bhagwan for allowing us to use his name to set up an organization, to be part of that organization, and to use his name to do the work of the organization. We really are truly lucky that Bhagwan set up a formal, organization for us to be able to find our path back to him and to participate in a global level and on a group level with other spiritual seekers who have the same goal in mind, right? So I think definitely we have to be so grateful to him for allowing us to do such a thing. And bringing it back to our topic for today, that's the other thing about Sai Kulwant Hall. Why is Sai Kulwant Hall special? Sai Kulwant Hall is where we all went to express our gratitude to Bhagwan. Sai Kulwant Hall is where we went to express our love, our thanks for him and to him for everything he has done in our lives. And so it's wonderful that you elaborated on gratitude as you did, Brother Rishi, because that's really what Sai Kulwant Hall is. And as we explore, its meaning in our lives and SKH, as it's fondly known, as a symbol of what Swami means to us and a manifestation of Swami's love for us and our gratitude to him. You said the term earlier, it really is a divine romance between Bhagwan and his devotees. And the sort of love that is always in Sai Kulwant Hall, I'm sure you will agree with me when you say, even when you enter Prashanti Nilayam, the ashram, yes, the moment you enter the ashram, and we all know with the anticipation with which we visit Puttaparthi, once we enter the ashram, we feel like different people. And we feel the spiritual atmosphere. It's such a charged place with Bhagwan's love and divine vibrations. But it's a totally different vibe, if I may say so, when you enter Sai Kulwant Hall. The vibe in Sai Kulwant Hall is almost completely different from the ashram. It's to me, at least, from personal experience, Prashanti Nilayam seems like a very charged, energetic, very warm type of place. You enter Prashanti Nilayam, you feel the warmth of the vibrations that simply pervade every atom, every molecule there. And then you enter Sai Kulwant Hall, and as you mentioned the play on words earlier, it's such a cool place. And by cool, I don't mean it as, in vogue or something. Cool as in temperature, inner temperature wise. You enter Sai Kulwant Hall and it actually is really cool. And it feels like such a peaceful place. And instead of feeling the divine vibrations really coursing through you like lightning, you feel like Swami's love is sort of wafting around and wafting to you, through you. And you really feel Bhagwan's love every minute of every day in Kulwant Hall. And obviously this is magnified whenever we have, especially at present, darshan of Swami's Sannidhi. It's almost speechless. I really can't put into words the emotions and the feeling I feel when I'm there. But I guess what I'm trying to say is Kulwant Hall is a symbol of everything Swami means to us and everything we mean to Swami. I really don't know how to put it another way, because we can go on, we can speak about love, we can speak about gratitude, we can speak about even spiritual penance. If we want to talk about sadhana, the type of sadhana we do in Sai Kulwant Hall, the type of sadhana so many devotees, so many ardent devotees of Bhagwan have done. We can talk about speeches. We can talk about divine play, Leela. So many Leelas of Bhagwan have taken place in Sai Kulwant Hall, his divine sport, his divine play. We can talk about the experiences that are shared. Personally speaking, every time I visit Sai Kulwant Hall, Swami does this really beautiful thing where I will always, every day at darshan, I will meet someone new. And every day I'm there, every darshan, whether it's morning or afternoon, I will meet someone new. And this person will have a very personal but very profound experience with Bhagwan that I really needed to hear that day. I would have really needed to hear that experience that day and needed to hear a particular message that this person learned from that experience. And it changes my entire outlook that day. And similarly, the next darshan, I'll sit down and someone sitting next to me will be someone new. And they will have another new experience with Bhagwan to share, another new lesson for me to learn, another message that I really needed to hear that day. So it's such a beautiful experience being in Sai Kulwant Hall. You know, it's a symbol, but I guess Sai Kulwant Hall is also an experience. So just a couple of thoughts I wanted to share. Back to you, Brother Rishi.
Of course, bro. No, thank you for sharing those. Couple points that come to me in mind. So you mentioned about, how Sai Kulwant Hall feels cool, right? The mind is cooled. It doesn't really, it's like, if you think about it in one way, right? Like the veranda itself, where Swami sitting in the Prashanti Mandir, there is like the storehouse of all the power. And then that power is like distributed through the green and gold ceiling and is slowly showered down on all the devotees that sit there. So what is this from a very physical aspect? You and a lot of our viewers are probably familiar with this, but given that we're celebrating Kulwant Hall anniversary and basically it's Sai Kulwant Hall Day today, so wouldn't hurt going back and revisiting this story, which is narrated.
Of course,
by,
go for it.
Which is narrated by Uncle Bombay Srinivasan. His grandson, Brother Navneet Venkatesh, is a good friend of ours, who was a very talented singer and harmonium player. So this Uncle Bombay Srinivasan was in charge of doing the gold fixing in Sai Kulwant Hall. Swami had commissioned him to lead that effort and coordinate with the Larsen and Toubro and all the artisans who had done the gold fixing in Sai Kulwant Hall. So this was actually being done, I believe, in the year 2000, in the lead up to Swami's 75th birthday. Brother Karan Devan can fact check me on this. I'm not 100% sure. But so Sai Kulwant Hall was constructed in 1995, and upon inauguration, the ceiling was generally plain. The squares that we see today were actually just plain pink. We didn't have the golden designs in the ceiling that we see today. We see a replica of it right above my head. So I think in 2000 is when Swami had decided and Swami had permitted the devotees to further make the ceiling a bit more ornate. So they decided on a chakra design, like a golden lotus chakra. And chakras, very symbolic for energy centers. We have 7 chakras that run up our spine, and these are energy centers within our own body. And in Sai Kulwant Hall, this chakra symbol itself is, we have hundreds of chakras in Sai Kulwant Hall above our heads, showering that divine energy on us, right, as we sit there. And that's gold. Actual 24 karat gold plating has been done in that ceiling, right? It's literally a palace of God that we sit in when we go there. So gold is there, and then they had to select a color for the background of the chakras, right? The chakra itself is made in gold, but what should be the backdrop color? So given that Prashanti, most everything in Prashanti is pink and blue and a little bit of gold and yellows, right? So but generally pink and blue are the Prashanti colors. And so Bombay Srinivasan uncle had kept 8 different colors for Swami to pick from for the backdrop of those chakras. So they had four shades of pink, four shades of blue, sky blue. And so he had kept these on a palette to show to Swami. And he thought, we should. 8 is sometimes, I think, considered an inauspicious number in Telugu parlance. I'm not too sure. I've heard something like that. So he thought, 9 is a very divine number. We should present 9 different color choices to Swami. So, okay, brother Karan Devan has commented, gold fixings happened in 1998. So thank you for the fact check, brother. So
Thank you to Brother Karan Devan, our in-house fact checker.
Thank you. All BhajanBliss stuff, we try to fact check it to the best of our abilities, unlike some other people in this country. But that's a whole different tangent. Let's not get that started.
So
here.
back to Sai Kulwant Hall.
Back to Sai Kulwant Hall, yes. So they had made this 9th shade. They'd just taken a mix of the pinks and the blues and made this 9th shade, which was kind of like a emerald green. And simply for the sake of having a 9th choice, they made that mix and also threw it on that palette. And so one afternoon between morning and evening darshan, Swami came out to inspect the proceedings there, and what all is going on, the construction and the gold fixing. And so Bombay Sreenivasan uncle approaches Swami with this palette of 9 colors, asks Swami, can you please give us guidance and select one color for the ceiling? So uncle thought, Swami will pick one of the pinks or the blues, and this green was just an extra thought. But lo and behold, Swami went and picked that green color. And uncle asked Swami also, Swami, why are you picking this green color? We've kept these nice colors that will blend nicer with the Prashanti Mandir, right? Because the Mandir itself is pink and blue generally, right? With some touches of like a white. So he was very surprised. This is just something we threw on there last minute. But Swami then explained, see, this green this emerald color has a very special significance. So many senior devotees, Swami has materialized emerald rings for them. So this emerald stone, let's not turn this into like a gem an astrology session, but the emerald stone is usually worn by people who want peace of mind. That's, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's generally what I've heard and read, that the emerald stone.
Yes, and this theme of green sort of spreads more than just any sort of ring or talisman Swami has given devotees, but also translates to religions like the Islamic religion, right? Green is used so commonly because it represents peace. It represents peace of mind, peace of action, peace of word. And so this green has a huge significance across cultures about peace, prosperity, and giving peace of mind to spiritual seekers.
Wow, that's an amazing point. I never even thought of it that way. Thank you for sharing that, bro. So yeah, Swami was saying that, I give these emerald rings to devotees who need them, but there's millions of devotees. I cannot go on creating millions of rings. Of course, Swami can. He was just saying that in a very light-hearted moment, right? Swami can create millions, if not trillions, of gems and jewels, and he is the storehouse of everything that exists. But in a light-hearted moment, Swami just said, I cannot go on creating emerald rings for all my devotees. But this Kulwant Hall, see, this emerald and gold, you have gold is there in the ceiling, right? The chakras are 24 karat gold plating. And then you have the emerald color. So this whole Kulwant Hall, which I'm creating, is basically one giant emerald ring that I'm giving for all of my devotees. So whoever comes and sits under the ceiling, Swami has given that assurance that day to Sreenivasan uncle.
And I'm sure you'll agree, Brother Rishi, that when we do go and sit in Sai Kulwant Hall, we feel this. We feel this peace of mind. We feel like suddenly thoughts that we're so used to getting, or such sort of like fluttering between jumping from thought to thought to thought. Swami says, mad monkey mind. So we go and sit in Sai Kulwant Hall, and suddenly, the only thing that matters is in front of us, is Bhagwan. So I completely agree with this, and it's so mind blowing that, of course, Swami is the Lord of the universe, but even if we think about Swami as a being with a mission, Swami is so visionary, just in terms of every small thing in Prashantilayam, every small thing he has done. And for the sake of discussion of Sai Kulwant Hall, every small detail of Sai Kulwant Hall is filled with so much profound meaning of Swami's teachings, Swami's mission, and Swami's message to his devotees. It's really quite amazing.
Very true. And if you think about the collective consciousness of Sai Kulwant Hall, right? In Sai centers, when we go, right, we would generally have like people, they're thinking about their worries at home or anything. But when we go to Sai Kulwant Hall, so where the collective consciousness of the entire assembly is solely fixed on Bhagwan and Bhagwan alone. I'm sure it's happened to me personally, because when I'm in Parthi, there's always so many meetings to go to, so many music rehearsals, so many things going on in my head, right? But generally
I second
speaking,
that.
Generally speaking, when we're in Kulwant Hall, at least sitting down in Sai Kulwant Hall, we're only thinking about Swami, or if we're thinking about anything else, it is generally related to Swami. So think about, you have thousands of people thinking about, their mental energy is on one single focus point, right? So it's not just the ceiling or all of these esoteric symbolisms that make Sai Kulwant Hall what it is. It is a collective consciousness of all the devotees sitting in that hall thinking about one thing. And on that note, I want to transgress a little bit to Brother Andres' question that he's posed us in the live chat, right? Because I think this is a great segue into answering that question. So Brother Andres asks, can you share your experience on what it is to sing in his physical presence in Sai Kulwant Hall? How is it similar or different to offering a bhajan in our centers back home?
Start us off, Brother Rishi, because I know we ourselves have such beautiful, fond memories of jointly singing in Bhagwan's divine presence and in Sai Kulwant Hall. So why don't you start us off, and I'll pick up from there.
Sure. I think the one thing that really stands out to me, well, let me make one thing clear. I have not had a chance to sing in Swami's presence physically in Sai Kulwant Hall. The bhajan, the opportunities to sing bhajans and other songs in Swami's presence that I had were only received after Mahasamadhi. Before Mahasamadhi on July 11th, 2010, I was playing drums, in the percussion ensemble as part of that play. We didn't have bhajans on that day in particular, but still we had that chance. So I'll speak to that, and also I'll speak to experiences in Sai Kulwant Hall post Mahasamadhi. One thing I do want to put on the record and make this very clear, the feeling that you have there, whether it was before Samadhi or after Samadhi, it is exact same. I have, from personal experience, I have not felt any different performing physically in front of Swami or not performing physically in front of Swami and doing it in front of the Divya Sannidhi instead. The vibration, the feeling, the emotion, everything is the exact same for me personally. So I'll speak to both of those scenarios at the same time. One thing that we do when we're singing a bhajan in our centers at home, we'll be worrying about so many things. Oh, is the tabla being heard? If we're playing tabla, we'll keep saying, hey, sound guy, increase my volume. Hey, increase, man. I cannot hear myself. Or the harmonium player, they'll also be, they say, hey, man, brother Siddharth, man, every time we are doing sound for any event, man, he always wants a harmonium blasting, right? So it will blast it for him. Why not? But so harmonium increase, vocal people increase my volume, right? Everything, every at all the centers, like the sound is one thing. Then we'll be like, oh, is the altar done properly? Is everything done properly? I'll be thinking about so many things, right? Oh, slide. Hey, this PowerPoint guy has not pressed the button to go to the next slide. Everybody will be like, hey, next slide, next slide. All of these things are
Is the
happening.
HDMI working? Is the Bluetooth working?
And hey, and if you're here in New Jersey, is the broadcast working? Is BhajanBliss live streaming going on? So many things we worry about in cycle. I mean, when we doing bhajans back home at our centers. The difference in Sai Kulwant Hall is there's actually way more stuff to worry about, because now you're trying to pull off a bhajan session not only in the physical presence of Bhagwan, but you have a chorus of tens of thousands of people sitting behind you. So you better make sure that the bhajan quality is top notch, right? So actually there's more things to worry about, but the magic of physically singing in Parthi is one thing. Is even though there's more pressure, I have personally felt not just singing bhajans in Kulwant Hall, but also coordinating a bhajan session in Sai Kulwant Hall. Those worries just vanish as if there's nothing is there. Once you have done your prep work and you go and sit there on that white marble block and get ready for the session, it's so easy. It's really so easy for you to just leave everything to Swami and surrender. When we do sessions here, right, even if I'm singing alone, right, and on BhajanBliss, and like, oh, I need to get my bhajan list ready, make sure sound is ready, make sure broadcast is running. But in Sai Kulwant Hall, it's just, as they say in Sanskrit, sthala prabhavam, the benefit of that place, the sanctity of that place itself, where Bhagavan has walked for so many years, right? Just the vibration of the place makes you forget all your worries. So to answer Brother Andres' questions, Sai Kulwant Hall, yes, we are able to really focus on the bhajan itself and really focus on Swami, and that's truly because of the magic of the place. However, that doesn't mean that we need to wait for an opportunity or wait for COVID to be done so we can get on a plane and somehow find an opportunity to sing in Kulwant Hall. We should, as the topic of this very discussion, right, building Sai Kulwant Hall within our hearts, we need to bring that feeling with us wherever we go to sing bhajans. So, your thoughts, brother?
So thank you, Brother Rishi. So to address Brother Andres' question, at least from my personal experience, I've had the great good fortune and grace of Bhagwan to sing in front of him with a choir in a music program, and also with Brother Rishi to offer bhajans at the Divine Lotus Feet post Mahasamadhi. And in terms of Sai Kulwant Hall, just like Brother Rishi talked about Sthala Prabhavam, it really makes a difference in terms of what we're focused on, in my opinion, whenever we're at home in our altars or even at Sai Center and we are sitting and we are singing for Swami. We tend to have a little bit more of a fickle mind. We tend to focus on Swami part-time and then have to think about a million other things in the spare time. We think about things like, oh, is my laundry done? Have I received an email in the last 20 seconds? Is everyone around me able to hear my bhajan? Things like this. In Sai Kulwant Hall, literally all that matters is Swami is in front of you. Nothing else matters. And personally, sometimes before songs, for example, in the 2010 music program, when we performed in front of Swami, I've had moments during that program that I remember very well where I was completely blank. I was blanked out. And I thought I had forgotten the bhajan, but not the bhajan or the song. Nothing mattered. Swami was in front of me. And I knew that if I opened my mouth, whatever came out of my mouth was because of him and him alone. It had nothing to do with my effort. It had nothing to do with me being there. Everything was being orchestrated by none other than Swami. And if I opened my mouth and something came out, it was him. So The feeling is different only in the sense that our mind seems a little bit more focused, maybe because of Sthala Prabhava, maybe because of just sheer Swami's grace. But I think we should strive to be able to develop that same amount of focus wherever we sing for him. And as he said, wherever we sing for him, he installs himself. Sthapayami, tatra sthapayami. So wherever we sing, he installs himself. He's there. He's listening. So we need to strive to develop that same amount of focus. One thing I will say about the feeling that you feel singing for Swami, it's no different. In my opinion, it's no different whether you're singing for him in a car, you're singing for him in the middle of a forest, or you're singing for him in Sai Kulwant Hall. The feeling is the same, because that feeling when we're singing for him, the bhavam in our singing comes straight from the heart. And that is just simply our pure connection with the Lord. And so the feeling is the exact same wherever we go. Sometimes it may be a little easier for us to focus on him when we're in Sai Kulwant Hall compared to other places. But remember, we really need to strive to develop the Sai Kulwant Hall within us wherever we go, so that we are in touch with him, our source, no matter what, no matter when, no matter how. And what better way to celebrate Sai Kulwant Hall than sing bhajans? Because so many of us know, we all know how many bhajans have been sung at the Divine Lotus Feet and continue to be sung in Sai Kulwant Hall morning and evening, every single day, 365 days of the year. And we're so fortunate to be able to listen to these bhajans, to be in touch with him. Verily, as we talk about Sai Kulwant Hall being the symbol of Bhagwan's love for his devotees, bhajans themselves as well are such a loving gift to us by Bhagwan. So with that, Brother Rishi, I think it's a wonderful way to cap off this really, really refreshing and very nice discussion we've had about Sai Kulwant Hall, developing it in our lives and in our hearts, and bringing this to a close with nothing but melodious bhajans in our own very little Jersey City Sai Kulwant Hall. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram. Thank you so much, brother, and thank you so much to all our listeners for tuning in. Indeed, we will conclude this session with a few bhajans, concluding with Maha Mangalarati after that. And we'll try to have these discussions, as often as we can, as time permits. So do stay tuned to BhajanBliss. And for those of you who are listening, actually, tomorrow we'll be having the Unity Bhajan session, which is hosted by the Satya Sai Centers of New Jersey. It's been streaming on live on BhajanBliss. We still have a lot of sign-up spots open if you'd like to lead a bhajan. Do go visit bit.ly, that's bit.ly/Unity Bhajans. I'll type the link in the live chat for those of you who missed it. That's once again bit.ly/Unity Bhajans. We would love to hear all of your voices tomorrow. Bhajans are 4:45 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So with that, we will conclude this session with bhajans, hoping that you are all well, safe, healthy, and experiencing the divine bliss of Bhagwan's presence wherever you are. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram. मातङ्गवदना मां पालया मातङ्गवदना मां पालया मौलीश्वर शिव गौरी सिद्धिविनायक मंगलदायक सिद्धिविनायक मातंगवदना मा पाळया मौलीश्वर शिव गौरी नंदना मौलीश्वर शिव गौरी नंदना मंगलदायक सिद्धिविनायक मंगलदायक सिद्धिविनायक मातंगवदना मां पालया सिंहवाहिनी साई नारायण सिंहवाहिनी साई नारायण माता महेश्वरी दुर्गा भवानी माता महेश्वरी दुर्गा भवानी सिंहवाहिनी साई नारायण अखिलांडेश्वरी जय जग जननी अखिलांडेश्वरी जय जग जननी अभय प्रदायिनी आनंद रूपिणी अभय प्रदायिनी आनंद रूपिणी मंगलकारिणी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी मंगलकारिणी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी सिंहवाहिनी साई नारायणी माता महेश्वरी दुर्गा भवानी सिंहवाहिनी साई नारायणी अखिलांडेश्वरी जय जग जननी अभय प्रदायिनी आनंद रूपिणी मंगलकारिणी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी मंगलकारिणी मोक्ष प्रदायिनी सिंहवाहिनी साई नारायणी नमो नारसिंह असुर विनाशा नमो नारसिंह असुर विनाशा त्रिलोकपाला त्रिविक्रमा हरिनारायण सिंहमुखधारी हरिनारायण प्रह्लाद रक्षक हरिनारायण प्रह्लाद रक्षक हरिनारायण श्रीपतिवासाय सत्यनारायण श्रीपतिवासाय सत्यनारायण भक्तोद्धारक साई नारायण भक्तोद्धारक साई नारायण नमो नारसिंहासुर विनाशा त्रिलोकपाला त्रिविक्रमा सिंहमुखधारी हरिनारायण सिंहमुखधारी हरिनारायण प्रह्लाद रक्षक हरिनारायण श्रीपतिवासाय सत्यनारायण सत्यनारायण साई नारायण श्रीपतिवासाय सत्यनारायण भक्तोद्धारक साई नारायण भक्तोद्धारक साई नारायण नमो नारसिंहा असुर विनाशा जय जय जननी साई जननी अम्बे भवानी मां जय जय जननी साई जननी अम्बे भवानी मां जय मां जय मां जय मां जय मां साई भवानी मां सत्य साई भवानी मां सिंहवाहिनी त्रिशूलधारिणी अम्बे भवानी मां सिंहवाहिनी त्रिशूलधारिणी अम्बे भवानी मां जय जय जननी साई जननी पर्तिनिवासिनी मां जय जय जननी साई जननी पर्तिनिवासिनी मां जय मां जय मां जय मां जय मां साई भवानी मां सत्य साई भवानी मां जय जय जननी साई जननी अम्बे भवानी मां वाहिनी त्रिशूलधारिणी अम्बे भवानी माँ। जय जय जननी साई जननी भक्ति निवासिनी माँ। जय माँ जय माँ। साई भवानी माँ। सत्य साई भवानी माँ। साई जननी अम्बे भवानी माँ। मंदिर में आओ माधवा। माधवा केशवा माधवा केशवा मन मंदिर में आओ माधवा। नारायण अनंत साई। आदि नारायण अनंत साई। आवो आवो हृदय निवासी। राधा लोला रकुमाई विठ्ठला। राधा लोला रकुमाई विठ्ठला। रंगा पांडू रंगा विठ्ठला। रंगा पांडू रंगा विठ्ठला। मंदिर में आओ माधवा। माधवा केशवा मन मंदिर में आओ माधवा। आदि नारायण अनंत साई। आवो आवो हृदय निवासी। राधा लोला रकुमाई विठ्ठला। रंगा पांडू रंगा विठ्ठला। रंगा पांडू रंगा विठ्ठला। बोल विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल। विठ्ठल विठ्ठल परतिरंग विठ्ठल। विठ्ठल विठ्ठल परतिरंग विठ्ठल। बोल विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल। विठ्ठल विठ्ठल पांडुरंग विठ्ठल। विठ्ठल विठ्ठल परतिरंग विठ्ठल। मंदिर में आओ शम्भो शङ्कर देवा शम्भो शङ्कर देवा भोले बाबा महादेवा साई बाबा महादेवा सत्य साई बाबा महादेवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा भोले बाबा महादेवा साई बाबा महादेवा सत्य साई बाबा महादेवा शंभो शंकर देवा भोले बाबा महादेवा साई बाबा महादेवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा पाहि प्रभो शरणं देवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा हर हर गंगे महादेवा ओम हर हर गंगे महादेवा भोले बाबा महादेवा साई बाबा महादेवा
ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय शम्भो शङ्कर ॐ शिवाय शम्भो शङ्कर ॐ शिवाय शम्भो शङ्कर ॐ शिवाय शम्भो शङ्कर ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय शम्भो शङ्कर 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 ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय ॐ शिवाय
जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण नारायण ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम सत्यनारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा ओम शांति 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 समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोका सुखिनो भवन्तु ओम शांति 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।